This is Channel 8 News, KKSU LP. For Manhattan and Riley County. From Kansas State University, this is Channel 8 News.
And welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Nick Wall.
And I am Zaldy the Union. Coming up on today's show, we welcome in a photojournalist from Mexico City working for La Jornada, as well as the president of the Black Student Union, to tell us about a recent protest. U.S. officials, colleagues, and family members are urging justice for Washington Post correspondent Jason Rezaian. Rezaian holds dual citizenship in America and Iran and has been charged with unspecified crimes in Iran. The Iranian government has not explained his detention, and U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and Rezaian's family are urging his release.
And demonstrations and protests surrounding the Ferguson decision are in full swing and starting to become more violent. And
Katia Like is a field bureau reporter for Kansas First News in Topeka, covering the Manhattan area. There's been many protests around the country due to the Ferguson decision. News reporters have been facing tough times during this while trying to do their jobs without any harm. Like was in Manhattan to report on how Kansas State's Black Student Union protested the ruling in the heart of K-State's campus.
These troops are said to be deployed for about a year.
Well, I tell you what, let's hope they make it home safe before then.
Of course.
In late September, the Big Red One at Fort Riley made national news when it announced that 500 of its troops would deploy to fight ISIS in Iraq. Dr. Bob Beatty joins us now to discuss and provide an in-depth analysis on how the upcoming elections will affect Kansas and with what we can expect to go down at the polls. Dr. Beatty, thank you for joining us today.
Good to be here, Zaldy.
All right, so Dr. Beatty, if you can give a quick overview on what's been happening in the Senate and the governor's race.
Down in Mexico, have been a lot of protests circulating in that nation.
And the reason behind these protests is because in late September, 43 college students went missing. They were on their way to protest against the local government in Iguala, Mexico.
Local Mexican municipal police, who were working in collusion with a local drug cartel, were ordered by the local government to ambush the students and hand them over to drug cartels. They found 2 dead and the rest are still unaccounted for.
Mexican journalists are still covering these stories, and the protests are around the missing students. They are now being targeted by powerful drug cartels and local government for focusing on the issue and influencing their storytelling. Now, if you're going to the game, you are encouraged to arrive at Vail Snyder Family Stadium early to ease traffic congestion. And so here's a timeline of the things that's going on tomorrow. The East and West Stadium parking lots will be open at 1:30 p.m. with the entry gates for inside the stadium opening at 4:30. And lastly, kickoff for the game will be at 6:30.
And welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Nick Wall.
And I am Zaldy the Union. Police made an arrest on Sunday after Jeffrey Giacoletto Jr. attempted to rob Fred Landis of his dog. Landis was walking his dog in the 1300 block of Points Avenue when Giacoletto approached him. He was arrested for attempted robbery, battery, and battery of a law enforcement officer. He was given a bond of $10,000.
Thanks, Blake. After seeing that, I'm kind of thinking about getting a flu shot, even though I'm really scared of needles.
Well, if you're not scared, Lafine does have a list of walk-in clinic dates, so it really shouldn't be that hard to set up an appointment.
Especially for a really busy schedule.
This week, City Park went to the dogs. Reporter Katie Watkins is here to tell us more.
Versus Brownback as a Republican.
All right, and heading over to the Senate race, Pat Roberts has been here for over a decade now, and so here comes Greg Orman. And that race is pretty close as well. And so if Greg Orman takes Pat Roberts' spot, how big of an impact is that on the state of Kansas?
It's absolutely massive.
We now welcome in Channel 8 reporter Willie Evans and Justice Davis, president of the Black Student Union, to talk about the protest. Willie? And up next for the Wildcats is a big matchup with the 6th-ranked TCU Horned Frogs in Fort Worth, Texas. This game has both the Big 12 and college football playoff implications for both teams. So if you want to watch it, it will be televised on Fox with kickoff starting at 6:30. The K-State volleyball team was also in action this weekend as they took on Texas Tech at Aaron Fieldhouse. And after being down 0-2, the Wildcats rallied back to win the game 3-2, led by senior hitter Chelsea Keating, who recorded her 4th double-double of the season with 17 kills and 22 digs. The Volleycats improved their record to 20-3, and up next for them will be Iowa State over at Ames. So, with basketball coming up, it's a really good time to be a Wildcat here in the sports world, and hopefully they can keep it rolling. Thank you guys again so much for watching us this semester of Channel 8 News. Enjoy the holidays, and we'll be back in January.